cast out demons. Healed his enemies. When Peter struck a servant in Gethsemane, Jesus didn't retaliate. He restored. He healed the man sent to arrest him. He predicted his death, then scheduled his return. No one takes my life from me. I lay it down of my own accord. He appeared to more than 500, most of whom are still living. 1 Corinthians 15:6, written circa 55 AD, within the lifetime of witnesses. The disciples didn't die for a lie. Peter, crucified upside down. Thomas, speared in India. Andrew, X-shaped cross. John, boiled alive, exiled. Judas, died in regret. According to tradition, none recanted. Not under torture. Not under threat. Not under Roman law. People don't die for fiction. Not 12 of them. Not under 12 governments. We just flirted with the numbers, but scholars like Huff don't chase math. They chase manuscripts. Let's talk history. Let's see what he's found.
The historical data concerning Jesus of Nazareth is certain. The evidence is not sketchy. The historian, theologian, and Nobel Prize winner Albert Schweitzer stated that it must be admitted that there are few characters of antiquity about whom we possess so much historical information. Even radical skeptics like Bart Ehrman, in his book, Did Jesus Exist?, states that the claim that Jesus was simply made up falters on every historical ground. Anyone actively working and teaching in the fields of historiography, antiquity studies, classics, biblical studies, textual criticism, or any other related field, the reason for this is that if we were to cast doubt on the historical Jesus, then based on the primary records we have, we would have to cast doubt even more on the existence of any other figure from the ancient world. For example, Jesus actually stacks up pretty well against some of the best attested characters from ancient antiquity. The most powerful individual during the life of Jesus was the Emperor Tiberius. We know about the details of his life from 4 biographers. Jesus, likewise, has 4 biographers. All of the sources for Tiberius came 80 or more years after the events they narrate. Even with the most skeptical dating, we're still only waiting for the first gospel biography of Jesus to be written, coming in at around 30 years after his death, and there's good historical evidence to push that even back to 20 years. And while Mark and Luke were not eyewitnesses to Jesus, Matthew and John were part of his inner circle. Luke states right off the bat that he himself was not an eyewitness, but that he had painstakingly sought out, interviewed, and recorded the tellings of those who were. Every piece of ancient testimony about the gospel authors testify to a direct connection with the earliest Jesus community. Matthew and John were disciples. Luke interviews eyewitnesses and provides his receipts. And all of the earliest testimony about the identity of who Mark is from the ancient world states that he was a traveling companion of Peter the disciple and wrote down what Peter had told him about his time when he was with Jesus. If we compare this to other figures from antiquity, we see why this is so important. Alexander the Great, for example, also had 4 biographies written about his life. The earliest and most reliable one of these comes in at just around 450 years after Alexander lived, and this is the norm for ancient biographical material. The ancient world was not a literate one. It was an oral society who memorized and passed down teachings and histories. Socrates himself decried the practice of writing and reading, saying it would make people lazy and dull their ability to memorize things accurately. Ironically, the only reason we know that is because his student Plato wrote that down. The gospel biographies of Jesus are some of the earliest and most reliable testimony of any ancient figure. Comparisons with others like Tiberius and Alexander the Great provide perspectives on how we as historians weigh the data. Specifically, the amount of text we have about Jesus is good relative to the best known figures from antiquity.
The records stand, but the silence of the grave, that's where things start shaking. Resurrection's next. The aftershocks were recorded. Tacitus, Roman historian. Christus, executed by Pontius Pilate. Josephus, Jewish historian. Jesus, a doer of wonderful works, appeared alive again. They weren't followers. They were historians. They had no reason to lie. And your calendar? Split in his name. BC, before Christ. AD, Anno Domini, in the year of our Lord. Every time you write the date, you echo eternity. His name still pierces. No one curses in the name of Buddha, or stubs a toe and screams Muhammad. But Jesus, we say his name when we're afraid, angry, guilty, because deep down, everyone knows who he is. Abraham looked up and saw a ram caught by its horns. Genesis 22:13. That ram saved Isaac. Jesus became your ram. Your lamb. The final offering. Truth leaves a trail. Help us follow it. Subscribe, like, and share. The case is open, and we're not done yet.